Welcome to the Geeks podcast YouTube channel. This is the part where I usually say, this show, talk about shows, movies, and video games and cool stuff we see during the week. And I am your host, Editor Prazis. But you're probably reading the title and you're like, what the fuck is going on? If you actually give a shit. But we need to talk, y'all. Gotta have a confession to make to y'all. No, I'm not gonna announce my pronouns. No, I'm not gay. No to other shit. It's regarding to the pod. I want to have a heart-to-heart to y'all because I don't know. I was talking to Felix while we were recording last week's "What You Doing," which is on YouTube. You can go check that out. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on, man. Like, I don't have no. I don't know. I'm super lost for where the pod is going, right? Back in 2019, I think it was, I've been talking with Felix to start a pod for a long time now. They're probably like 6 or 7 months in the making. And he already had a little project on his own, and he was working on stuff on his own, and then he would bring his equipment and we would start out and we would record and chillax, right? But the reason why we started the pod is because when he would come over and visit me, we would spend hours upon hours of just talking bullshit, reminiscing on high school stuff, but then we would just bullshit about movies, shows, and video games. And we look at the time and 5 hours has gone past, and we're like, damn, we should have a podcast, man. Oh man, we should have a podcast. So that's how this whole thing started. So along the way, and this is all on me, along the way, I started to get paranoid of the content, I think. And I would have articles and stuff on the side in case we ran out of stuff to say, I think. I don't know. I was using news and trailers as a crutch. Like some kind of backup for some kind of conversation, and I was doing some other stuff, and it's always been fun. The pond has always been fun, and that's why we do it, because it's fun. Then later on we brought Bubbles along, and then he, I kind of roped in to do it, and then we were doing it. I was kind of forcing him to do it, even at times when he didn't want to, I feel like. But I guess I wasn't really listening, and they've told me kind of like very, very nicely that the pod isn't what it was supposed to be. So that crutch became the whole basis of the show, which is I gather up news during the week, and I gather up a bunch of trailers during the week, and then we just talk about that. But that wasn't the original point of the podcast. The podcast was just shooting this shit, and then if we so happen to mention some other stuff, that's what that would come in. And I don't know. I just kept grabbing new stuff and thinking, oh, that's kind of cool, and then picking stuff that I would think other people would want to hear. And I guess I just got sick of it, and I was like, you know what? It's not fun to think of all these stuff. And I would pick a lot of topics early on that we don't really have a strong opinion on, and then I would drag it out, and then may not be a very good piece of content out there, and it was just really weird, man. It was really weird. And then I split the pod into two, and I made the "What You Doing," which is I don't even know what that is yet. I'm super lost in this whole YouTube making content thing. I just gotta go back to making what I think is fun and cool, and it's basically me and my compillas and my friends just shooting the shit. The "What You Doing" isn't gonna go through a huge overhaul of stuff. It's just gonna be maybe reviewing the new stuff that's coming out, which originally was just whatever we watched. But we watched so much stuff that to put it in a whole thing, and then it's too long. So I'm still figuring out what we're gonna do there. And I'm recently starting in with like other forms of short form of content where we're doing voiceovers of older reviews, and I enjoyed making those, and I'm making some more just on pure video games in my own personal channel just to see what's up. I enjoy writing those out, and the whole recording. I do everything by myself, by the way. You can obviously tell it's all janky as fuck, but I enjoy making that, and I'm just gonna keep making stuff that I enjoy. So what does that mean for the pod is that I'm not doing news anymore. I really can't remember when the switch happened that I was just worried about giving the news, and that would even overshadow my personality sometimes because I'm just so worried about saying the right thing in the right way, still fucking up, by the way, 100%, still messing up, still being terrible. They're like, some of my personality suffered, and then while I'm editing, I'm thinking about more funnier things I could have said, but because I'm thinking about so many things ahead, it was just a bad idea. So what I'm gonna do now is that I am gonna like keep an eye on the news. If something's like super huge or major and it so happens to slip in conversation, that's when I'm gonna break it in. As far as trailer talks, it's gonna be the same thing. I was just picking trailers that look weird, but we might not even have any interest in watching the damn thing. And then like loyal viewers, shout outs to Boss, he'd be like, oh, you said you were going to watch this. And I've seen so many trailers that I don't even remember what you're talking about. And so it just got to be too much. And I just deviated so far from what I thought the pod was going to be and what I wanted it to be. And I want to bring in the reins a little more. So if it's like something huge, like a Marvel movie or something that we actually give a shit about, both news and trailer wise, that's when I would be bringing it up. But the rest of the content, I enjoy making those games, making Felix suffer with punishments and all that kind of stuff. That's fun things that I like to come up with. I'm gonna start doing some more of those, and whatever else comes up. Like it could be a whole hour of just talking about how the week went, but it's gonna be more genuine. And I feel like I haven't been genuine 141 episodes with y'all. I know it's got super deep and personal, but fuck it. All right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Like, it's so weird that I always sign off, and like I started the moniker of doing you do you, and I wasn't doing me. You know, I just got caught up with other stuff that have nothing to do, and putting out things that I think people would want, and blatantly disregarding my whole thing of you do you. So I just gotta do you. I just gotta do me, and you gotta do you. And what I mean by you do you is like, if like that's also, that was like the whole point of the show too. Felix can like his crazy shit, right? The way I am, I want to know why you like it and how you like it and why I don't like it. But when I question him, or when we brought something else, I'm not asking it to change them or change their personal views on those certain things. You do you. You keep doing you. I want to take a peek in your brain. That's the way how my brain usually works. And you probably didn't notice that in 140 something episodes, because the way that I was structuring the show wasn't letting us be personalities. And we all have personalities. Like I just put a cap on us. And I've been telling this to Felix behind the scenes for a while now, that I feel like we're not there yet. What we can put out as content, and mostly it was because of me. So I take full responsibility for all that. But hopefully we can step it up, and we could put out good stuff for y'all. Shout out to everybody who's listening for the jump. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still thinking about it too. I got some family stuff to figure out, and I pride myself on not missing a single week, even by myself. Like, I might put out the worst piece of trash that YouTube has ever seen in their fucking life, and I'm willing to put it out there because it's practice, dog. We're talking about practice. I'm not a personality. I'm not a professional podcaster. I just like to bullshit, and I haven't been doing that, and I'm going to. But I'm also gonna slow down, maybe. If there's something that we don't have to talk about, we won't talk about it. And if there's nothing to really review, we won't review it. And if circumstances don't lend itself for us to put out an episode, we won't put it out. This might be for the next two, right? And also, this form of content helps me to even bank a few, because I don't have to depend on news and trailers and all that shit, right? But don't worry if we still have dope trailers. Like there's been a Spider-Man trailer roaming around the internet, but I just can't tell if it's real or not. Like, internet is crazy nowadays, because if it's real, this new movie, the new Superman, the Spider-Man No Way Home, it's gonna be the greatest shit ever of all time. Like, I just saw Felix send me a janky version of someone recording it off a theater, and I don't know if that's the real one or not. I'm still waiting for like Disney to put it out. I found a couple videos. I found that janky ass one, and then I found like a more legit one, but the channel said Marvel Studios, and you click on it and it was a bunch of like Hindi. Do you say Hindi or Hindu? There's a bunch of Hindi content. Like a guy in front of a flower field talking. I was like, what the fuck? This ain't no Marvel, dog. What the fuck are you? Like, I was so confused. But I'll wait until Disney's like, here it is, right? But if that trailer comes out and is legit, we're gonna talk about it, because that shit looks crazy. Tobey Maguire was in there, fucking Andrew, all the Spider-Mans fighting bad guy. It looks like it's gonna be the greatest fucking movie of all time. So trailers like that we will touch upon, that we actually give a shit about, right? I just gotta move away from stuff that I haven't really give a fuck about. So yeah, that's what I wanted to confess to y'all. As you can tell, I'm by myself, so I'm gonna try to ramble for about 50 minutes and see where it goes. It's also kind of liberating, man. I don't have to like follow something. I can just pop something out of my head and keep going. But I did want to talk to you about how I've fallen into a giant hole. So yeah, I don't even know how this started. I think Bubbles, and I think I was talking to Bubbles like a month ago now, and I don't know where it came up, where I was like, we need to go thrift shopping. He wants to go thrift shopping, but when I go thrift shopping, I want to go find video games. But I wasn't really thinking about like older video games, because I consider myself like a half-ass collector. I would collect what I like, and that's what you do. You collect what you like. But some people just collect just to collect. Like, people will have a whole Xbox collection and not play any of the games, but they want to have all the Xbox games. No, I don't have a problem with trading my stuff away, but now I do, because I have these spurts of like, god damn it, I shouldn't have fucking traded that. I wanted to keep it. But I was just looking up on stuff on the YouTubes of like people buying stuff on garage sales and treasure hunt finding. I think that's what bit me the most, is that the hunt, to find a certain item or whatever. And I just got hooked on a few channels that I've been watching. Gary V, he had like a whole what was it called? I don't know, where he goes to like 30 different garage sales and flips everything. I forget what he's called. Flip it. I don't know. I don't remember. But that led me to Phoenix Resale and Retro Rick. Is it Retro Rick or Rick Retro? Anyway, these two guys, they both of them, one of them, Retro Rick, is like a hardcore collector, and the other guy, he's a reseller, Phoenix Resale. And I was getting all them tips, and I was like, holy shit. So they go to pawn shops, and they go to Goodwills for the most part. Retro Rick does, and then oddly enough, GameStop and some other places where they catch certain stores slipping on the price. And Phoenix Resale sells them on Amazon, which for some reason the prices are way up. So he would find weird ass games that I would never see in my life, and it's like, this game's worth $150. Like, what the fuck? I've seen that game 1,000 times in the swap meet, duck. So I've been educating myself in that regard. And then Retro Rick, he's got a cool channel and a good series where he has a whole ass game collection, and he started with 10 dyers, bro. 10 fucking dyers. He goes to Goodwills and Salvation Armies and pawn shops and all that kind of stuff, and he'll buy things that he knows that he can flip and resell on Facebook Marketplace too. And then he just starts to build up, and the things that he's finding, it's wild. I'm like, oh, fuck, I want to do that. So just by watching that, it ignited me like I want to collect again, which sucks because I had a lot of stuff that I loved, but when you're broke, you just want to sell your shit to get money, and then when you got money, you just want to buy the shit that you sold because when you were broke. So it's a stupid endless cycle like that. But I'm I'm posing a little bit, but in the sense that I don't know if you can see it back there on the YouTubes, but Bubbles and I went to a swap meet a couple weeks ago already, right? And I'm missing. I mentioned before I got an Xbox One. So I got an Xbox One and I was missing the original Xbox. So I picked that up for dirt cheap. I think it was like $20 or something. Because I want to have all the consoles set up nicely. And I did go back to start researching all the Xbox games that I want. So if there's stuff that you guys should shout out that I should check out, because I also want to go back and start reviewing games that I missed or that I didn't really play a whole lot, because Anton and I own the original Xbox, but we played probably like 10 to 15 games. That was about it. We would rent a few games sometimes, or I would get some stuff on the cheap, but I've always had that innate feeling of let's trade to get better things. So when you're young and stupid, you don't realize what you have and you just start trading everything just because you can, and you it's the power of money, man. So slowly we start wheeling away from that. But now that as an adult, I'm like, I'm looking at strolling at original Xbox games, and I'm like, I never played that. I want to play that. And I'm like, you're a grown ass adult, dog. You can play it, but you gotta find it. So half of the thrill is to go out there, find it, and get it. I don't know how I was gonna work with the flipping part. The flipping aspect is a little tough for me down here in TJ. There's marketplaces here, but I'm like stuck between a rock and a hard place, because over here in Mexico, they double the price of everything usually. If someone knows what they have, they go higher than what it actually is worth, because people can't cross to the US, especially now, to get it. But if they don't know what they have, it's dirt cheap. Forgot to mention this 2DS I also picked up on that swap meet. Whole ass 2DS is only missing a charger. Look at the screen. It's not bad. It's pretty. That's just dust on it because it's already fucked up. I'm missing a charger and a stylus. I paid $20 for this shit. This was the score of the day. All I gotta do is let me borrow his charger, and I'm good. But now I gotta go back and look for 3DS games. It's just a hunt, right? Like, I don't got it. But the difference with these other guys is that I'm actually gonna play what I buy, because I'm not just gonna, like I said, I'm not just gonna buy stuff just to buy. I'm gonna buy stuff that I want to play. There's a bunch of stuff, and even stuff that, like I said before, that looked cute, looked interesting, but I never got around to playing it. I'm gonna do that as well. Yeah, it's weird. I get into these weird. Sometimes I want to collect, and sometimes I just want to sell it all to get something else. But I love looking at my physical media. I do games, right? I don't know if I should get into movies. I know Felix is balls deep in movies. He has a bunch of movies. I think he has 300, maybe over 300. I downloaded an app too for my games. I forget what the fuck it's called. Game Eye, I think. Yeah, it's Game Eye. And I was sitting there and I was inputting every single game and everything. And it turns out I have over 200 games. I didn't realize I had that many. There's a few other N64 that I have in here that I haven't logged in there. But it's fun. It's a whole world. It's a whole new world. It's pretty fun. It does break my heart though, because my uncle gave me a bunch of N64 stuff. I kept most of it, but some of them I did trade away. But thanks to that, I got my PS4. So it's kind of like, okay, so would I keep? Should I kept it? I don't know, man. And these guys online making it look so easy. I feel like I can pick that up. But it's wild that you go like a year ago, we would go to swap meets and you would see everybody have a cassette or two, an N64 cartridge, and now it's nothing, right? And especially with the Pandy, I think GameCube games are the ones that went up the most. But we all have that collector gene in us. I feel like a few of my cousins, shout outs to them. I think one of them got his whole collection stolen. That's fucking sad, but that's whack. And he never wanted to pick it back up, right? Shout outs to Beak. But yeah, Bubbles also has he wants all the Fire Emblems. He wants all the other stuff, and I'm like, yeah, me too. But it's wild when you're like, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want. But yeah, that whole game hunting world is wild. Trading gets wild too, and I know that GameStop gets hated on. You know, they're like, oh no, 40 games and here's $2. But there's actually some games that have decent value. This whole stack I'm trying to get rid of right here in this lower stack. I'm trying to get rid of that whole ass stack. And there's some value in there that I didn't realize, but I don't care for them. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that these guys have been taking notes. And apparently Facebook Marketplace is a good place to keep an eye out. I wish I could flip them, you know, but I said it because like if I were to flip it, if I ship it out of Mexico, is more monies. So that's a little iffy. I would have to like do other stuff, but yeah, it's a little wild. But yeah, trading games was my shit. But at stores, I didn't really do one-on-one with people. I didn't really do a whole lot of like, hey, what you got? Let me see. And it's wild how used, like you wouldn't think, there's games that you wouldn't think are worth anything. They're like, holy shit. And then it's like a whole ass, it's a whole market. It's a whole market. It's a whole Bitcoin of trading games, right? It has its own little market. Like, so NCAA 14, I think, probably 2 months ago. It's like a whatever. If you're walking around, you might see that game and it's like, it's a stupid college football game. But it was the last stupid college football game. So therefore, it's worth around 150. But where I say that the market fluctuates so much is that I think EA announced that they're going to come back with the NCAA football games. So then that fucking game dropped from 150 to around 80. It's still a lot of money for something that you can pick up for $1 or $2. But yeah, it's wild. They pick up a lot of stuff at pawn shops too. I'm like, I gotta go to pawn shops. I gotta get Bubbles out and see if he wants to go game hunting, because it's a fun thing that I've dipped my toe into. But we'll see. Yeah, I think I pride myself in playing most of my collection, so I wonder how many games I've actually played in total. I'm sure I can put it in the app of games that I've had and beaten and traded away. I had some good shit too. I had Fire Emblem, not Path of Radiance, that's the expensive one. The other one, the one for the Wii, we had that bitch. I traded it in like a stupido. I had Paper Mario for the Wii. All my Wii stuff, we traded it in. Thanks to Crazy Guy, because he hacked it. But I mean, I have a hacked Wii and I can basically play whatever the fuck I want. But it's not the same, man. Not the same as holding a cartridge in your hand, you know? It's not the same. I don't know why I grabbed this one. I could have grabbed one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah, I grabbed this one, which has been haunting me. I need to go back and play this. I also recently bought a AV to HDMI converter. So I'm going to be able to plug in my N64 to that thing, and it's going to be looking pretty spiffy for what it can do on my TV. So I might pick this fucker back up and see if I can finally finish Ocarina of Time. There's a handful of franchises that, again, escape me. Zelda didn't really escape me. I have beaten a few. I've beaten Twilight Princess. I've beaten Minish Cap. There's a few I've beaten. But I feel like I can't play any of the new ones until I go back and beat at least Ocarina. It's some OCD shit right there. Where I feel like I'm cheating on the franchise somehow. Like, when you do that, sometimes it's like, I just get OCD that I'm going to miss probably references that were placed in from past video games. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I understood what the fuck y'all were talking about. But I don't. But I do. I feel like I know everything about Ocarina before even playing it. But yeah, and it's kind of cool too that nowadays, I wonder what's the first game ever remade. Let me Google that while I try to speak at the same time. Nowadays everything's being remade like a motherfucker, right? Ever remade. Okay, that's cool. Trivia. The first game ever remade was Space Invaders. Huh. That's interesting. There's cool games now that are being remade. Like just finished writing the script that I'm going to do for Mafia, the definitive edition. You can't see it, but it's back there. And that was a game that released in 2002. And I also just bought 13. It's another game that released around that time. And I'm so hypocritical with the remakes because I hate it if I already played the game, but I love it if I haven't. And if it's a bundle of like a bunch of games and one, even better. But what the fuck was I saying? Yeah, when they do that, I'm like, hell yeah, because I haven't played it, and fuck when I have. But fuck, I just fucking mistracked myself. I'm just patiently waiting for them to remake games that I've played already, or I'm willing to go back and play again. So I've heard of Prince of Persia, that they're remaking that, the first one. I have 2 and 3 that was sold with me by one of my friends. Corla was good, but I haven't played those because I haven't gone back and played the first one. So I'm so OCD like that. It pisses me off. I have a feeling that the new Prince of Persia remake is going to be kind of dookie. I have something, because they delayed it a couple times. I feel like that's going to be kind of cackaroni, and I'm going to be really sad, but either way I'm going to play it. But something that's being remade that people are going to lose their shit is allegedly Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy is reportedly in the works. Oh shit, here we go again. So Rockstar Games is reportedly remastering Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas with a mix of new and old graphics for Xbox One, Series X and S, PS4, PS5, PC, Stadia, mobile, and Switch. Okay, good luck, Switch. I've played those games, the Grand Theft Autos, but I have never played those games. Y'all feel me? I've grabbed the controller and picked up a hooker and paid her, and then get out the car and beat her ass and get my money back. I've done that a million times. But those Grand Theft Autos, which I also own, so now I'm in a weird position because I was literally gonna go back and play those. But now that this fucking HD remastered thing is coming, I might wait and pick it up and play there. But I've never, those 3, well, I guess you consider 1, 2, 3 and China Wars. The only one I've actually, that's not, no, that's a lie. I did San Andreas. I better finish your thought, pendejo. Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City, which also includes Vice City Stories and the other one, I forget what this is called, I've never completed. I did finish San Andreas because that was kind of like, that was ported to the Xbox 360, and I think I bought the digital version of that, which my Xbox that I just bought, I think it has a copy of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, just a disc, so I might have to flip that or something. So this is what I'm saying. So there's games that I wanted to play, but now they're being remastered. So I'm like, oh shit, do I play the original or do I play the remastered version of it? Unlike, well, they're kind of the same people, right? Isn't Grand Theft Auto by 2K? Grand Theft Auto. Isn't this 2K? Rockstar. Right, I always confuse Rockstar and 2K. 2K did Mafia, which I just played, but the way they did it was kind of meh, right? And I'm gonna put out a whole video on that later. But I trust Rockstar. I trust Rockstar. I trust them. They have all the monies ever made of any video game of all time of ever, so they have enough money to put it back in the game and make it something really, really cool. So I think I'm gonna play the remaster. I just convinced myself to play the remastered version of it. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. But it's wild. Is there any games out there y'all want to be remastered? I was thinking about it. I mean, it kind of did. I feel like if you wait long enough, because people are not coming up with new shit, everything is eventually going to be remastered, both in movies and in video games. I'm trying to think of a series that's been redone. TV series. Remakes? Is that what you call it? I guess Twin Peaks, right? What was that one? Was it Twin Peaks or something like that? Like an old one, but did they come back? But it's not really. Oh, okay. That's pretty recent, I guess. Gossip Girl. Ooh, they're apparently doing Dexter. I never got into Dexter. Coming out fall 21st. That's pretty quick. They're doing Bewitched, apparently. They're doing Conan on Netflix. I didn't know that. Y'all know that? Conan the Barbarian? This could be a Netflix series? Oh, who the fuck gonna play Conan? His son? Arnold's son? Here it is. I was just talking with Felix. What was it, 2 weeks ago? About the Jetsons? They're making the Jetsons again. Jody? What the hell? Spin-off of Daria? Rugrats, I knew that. Those look kind of creepy. Gossip Girl was what I'm thinking. That's fairly new, right? Released in 2000? Yeah, 2007 through 2012. And I think there's a reboot. No, I don't think. I know there's a HBO Max reboot. Either coming or already out. Which is pretty wild. No, not that. Please no. Ooh, they're doing Clueless again? Bubbles, they're doing Clueless, dog. Gremlins, The Secret of the Mogwai? That has to be whatchamacallit, right? Computers. I know iCarly. So okay, yeah. What I was trying to get is that they also do reboots. I mean, some of those were spin-offs, not necessarily reboots. But they reboot series as well. I'm trying to think off the top. I guess Gossip Girl would be it. Where they just completely reboot it. It's the same exact thing. Why can't I think of one? Where it's the same exact thing, but they just put in future splash on it. A fresh coat of 2021 paint. Hey, but those were dope. I didn't know about Conan. I've never got into Conan. That's 80s? I need to go back in Conan. I feel like Conan was like live action He-Man, right? I feel like Conan, He-Man, and then what's the other guy? Flash Gordon? I feel like those are all the same guy. Am I tripping? Yeah, those were all in the 80s. I don't get them confused, but I did get Flash Gordon and He-Man confused back in the day. Back in the day being like 6 months ago. There's also a Flash Gordon movie coming in it? Or am I tripping about that too? Anyway, remakes A or nay? Depends. It depends. I feel like it really depends. And have you guys ever played something that you wanted to play as an adult? No, the other way around. Is there a game out there that you guys wanted to play as a children that you played as an adult? And how did that experience go? Was that like cool or nah? I'm trying to think. God damn it, I played so many fucking games, man. And it's so gaga. That's why I also want to do those review videos on it, because I play the game and I completely forget about it. Same with movies. I've completely forget about it. This past 5 years, I've probably seen over 100 movies, maybe. That's probably a lie. That's probably more. Probably 200 movies. I don't know. Figure 4 movies a week for 2 years. Whatever that math is, I've probably seen that and even more. But I completely forget about it. Like it just goes Control Alt Delete in my brain. I'm like, oh damn. So that's when Felix is like, you remember in the third movie when the D one? I'm like, nah, bitch. I don't fucking remember. I really don't fucking remember what you're talking about. Yeah, and the third one when the dude the D one and the that one. Nah, fool. Or which one is it? When it's and if it's a series, I combine the whole series in my brain. Which one is in the first one? I don't fucking know, dog. I was trying to think, do I mix the X-Men ones? Maybe not. That's probably the only one that I don't mix. Holy shit, I'm sweating my balls off. But yeah, have you played shit as an adult that you wanted as a children? You guys got a children wish list? Is that weird? You guys have a gaming wish list from that you never ever wanted to play? Let me know in the comments down below. So yeah, I think I'm gonna cut it right there. Now that I cut off all the trailers and and news, I don't. It's hard to talk to myself. But that's what your boy wanted. That's what what the whole purpose of this whole thing was. So if you guys disagree with all this stuff, also you can let me know and I'll take your what you're thinking in consideration. But I feel like this is where we need to go for now. Cutting out the trailers and cutting out the some of the news. And I did some news. I didn't even mean to. I did some fucking GTA news, and that's the way we're gonna do it. That's the way the cookie gonna crumble, because your boy gonna go insane, and then he not gonna want to do it no more. And right now, I want to do them no more. I want to do more, right? So let me know down below. I don't even know what the fuck I talked about. Let me know what you guys thought about this switch up in the show, and you guys collecting anything? And if you do, let me know, because not only you can collect. There's so much shit, man. From coins to Funko Pops is a big one. Cards, like everything, right? What the hell y'all collect? Let me know about down below. You can slide in our DMs at Geeks, Flicks, and Joysticks on the Instagram, as well as a Facebook page we got, and you can follow me personally at Edward Prizes, Paurazas on the Instagram and the Netflix. No, don't follow me on Netflix. And the fucking Facebook, as well as my ghostly friend Jafel91, and you can run over and follow Bubbles if you like to. Alex_Mac211. That's gonna be the show. I love y'all. Love you guys. Thank you for supporting these 2 years. We're gonna keep going, see what happens. Yeah, love y'all. Appreciate it very much. And you and always and forever. You do you. Pinche vato, you got fucking 140 shows and still don't know how to intro and outro properly. Que pendejo tu compa. Que pendejo tu güey.